Dan, we are ready whenever you are.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to today's meeting of ICTM. Today, instead of our usual meeting, we're going to be having a special workshop session, The Way of a Winner, How to Make Every Speech Presentation Great, by our visiting guest, Dr. Benjamin Fuerte Wayo, a 2020 finalist in the World Championship of Public Speaking. Now, he got up very early for us. It's 4 a.m. his time, and we can't offer a cup of coffee. So everyone, please think caffeinated thoughts on his behalf. Dr. Benjamin Wayo is a passionate and prolific speaker. He's a two-time West and Central African champion of public speaking and a finalist at the 2020 World Championship of Public Speaking. He has a firm belief in the power of words to change the world. He loves family, children, speaking, and connecting with people, and spreading the power of finding our individual voices. He's also a veterinary surgeon and research scientist. What's impressive about his championship or his finalist is that he's been a Toastmaster for only 3 years. That 2020 International Speech Contest was his very first final and semifinal appearances. And with that, it's my honor to introduce Dr. Benjamin Wayo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dan. And thank you, everyone. I said earlier that today we're going to get Benjamin 1.0 and not Benjamin 5.0. I am not feeling very well today. I've been sick, and I was hoping I'd be stronger by this time, but I'm a little bit weak, and I'm just trying to hold myself together. So I'm not my usual bubbly self. I don't feel very comfortable making presentations without enthusiasm. But I made a promise, and I love to keep it. So it will be a little mellow and conversational, but I'm sure we can still get something out of it today. So thank you, everyone, for being here. I consider it a great honor and privilege to be among Toastmasters. And the Toastmasters family has been just fantastic. Like he said, I've been a Toastmaster for just about 3 years, but I'm like an old soul in Toastmasters. I feel like I've been here for all my life. When I joined for the first time, when I went to my first Toastmasters meeting, I felt, where have these guys been all my life? I should have been here like 10 or 15 years ago. I love the atmosphere. I love the lessons. I love the camaraderie, the speeches, everything about it. Now, one of the reasons why I love Toastmasters and got into Toastmasters very early was simply because I love speaking. Ever since I was a boy, I had noticed that even though I was quiet, reserved, yeah, it's the family you choose. You never knew existed to choose. Very correct. Thank you, Robert. That's accurate. Yeah, so even though I was a boy and I was reserved, I'm introverted, but I loved speaking. I had a great respect for great communicators. Whenever I found someone that was a great communicator, if I listened to someone that delivered speeches very well, someone that knew how to connect with an audience, I really, really respected that. And I think that's going to bring me to my very first point. In the way of a winner, in order to make your presentations as powerful as possible, one of the first things for me is having a great respect and appreciation for the art of speaking. So that's R. That's the first one, R. It's going to be an acronym, RAMPD, R-A-M-P-D. So try and remember that, RAMPD. The first is R, respect and appreciation. Having a deep respect and appreciation for speakers, for the art of speaking, for great communicators, And it doesn't matter where you find them. They could be in Toastmasters, they could be motivational speakers, they could be politicians, it doesn't matter. But when you find people, local, international, that are great communicators, that are great speakers, respect that. I think as human beings, we have the tendency to concentrate on whatever it is that we appreciate. When we appreciate something, we tend to concentrate a little bit more. And so that's where we get real education from. There can't be real education without concentration, without appreciation. So having that deep respect and appreciation for great speakers. So I have listened to so many world champion speakers at Toastmasters, and whenever I'm speaking, I refer to one or the other while speaking. I've learned a lot from so many of them, and I continue to learn a lot from them. I would say I was coached by virtually as many world champions as possible. Nothing direct, but just by listening to their speeches, listening to their outlook, listening to their interviews, just learning what motivates them and why they do what they do. So have a great respect and appreciation for the art of speaking. Someone said rhetoric. Yeah, rhetoric too. I mean, it's still part of it. If you respect it, if you appreciate it, you learn better. So I joined Toastmasters, and of course when I went online, I saw all these wonderful speeches, and I saw one of the speeches I enjoyed the most, like most Toastmasters, is the speech of Dhananjaya Hetarachi. I see something in you. When I saw that speech, wow, I told my wife, man, this guy is doing what I want to do. I think I can do what this guy is doing. I love this. And I was like, oh, this is a walk in the park. I'm going to do this. But every day I spent in Toastmasters, I realized how difficult it was to actually come up with such fantastic speeches. Looking from outside, it seemed quite simple, but the more you work, the more you present yourself, the more you put yourself out there, the more you realize the the challenges involved and how much work you need to put into yourself to do better. So that takes me to my second point. The first, of course, is respect and appreciation. The second is attitude. Attitude. You need to have the right attitude. The right attitude allows you to see things in the right perspective. A lot of times people join Toastmasters for, of course, for different reasons. Some actually join to compete. I love competing, and I wanted to compete from the very first time I joined. Some just join to be able to get rid of their fear of public speaking. Some are even more interested in the leadership path and so on. But it's important for you to have an attitude that says, I will do well no matter what happens. Sometimes people would judge you. They would say you're not doing so well. You will hear some negative feedback. But if you have the right attitude, you will always do better. I use Rich Hopkins' philosophy: win anyway. Rich Hopkins says win anyway, and the idea is no matter what happens, you can win on your own terms. So even if you don't win a contest, you can win by getting better. Even if you don't win, even if someone thinks you're not doing so well, you can look at how you have improved as an individual. And that would be the basis of your own winning. You have to win on your own terms. You can't win on someone else's terms. The contest, as it were, is subjective. The contest is subjective, and sometimes people make mistakes. And just because I didn't win a trophy doesn't mean that I didn't win something. I became a better speaker. I became a more mature individual. I stretched myself in areas I never thought I could. So learn to win anyway. Have the right attitude. If you have the right attitude, you will always win. and you will always have the best out of not just Toastmasters, but almost every single, okay, sorry, almost every single scenario you get into. Having the right attitude helps you. Telling yourself that you can always do better. And of course, Toastmasters is the land of feedback. We are constantly giving feedback, and yeah, we get people that give us great feedback. Most Toastmasters are very, very helpful with their feedback, but sometimes you get people that are not so positive and could be a little bit discouraging. But I think we all need to look beyond what someone says and focus on what it is that 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 journey means to us. I won a little trophy. It's plastic. Uh, okay, somewhere here. Let me see. Yeah, I got this. This is my semifinal trophy. Now I can't get any money for this if I try to sell this. It's plastic. It's not so valuable. But what does it mean to me? That's the point. What does it mean? It means I went as far as I could. I pushed myself, and I was able to compete with even the best, and and did something. That's what it means. So it may not there may not be any money attached to it, but there's a meaning attached to it. So even if you don't get a trophy, what does the experience mean to you? And that's very powerful. So if you have the right attitude and focus on what things mean, what's your own personal improvement, your own progress, your own personal self-development, having that attitude allows you, yeah, allows you to get the best out of every single atmosphere. So whether it's in competition or in the leadership path or whatever, but as far as your presentations are concerned, honestly, if you have the right attitude, you will always get better. So that's A. So the first, of course, is respect and appreciation. Second is A. The third is M, message. I hope I'm still audible. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right. All right, thank you. So the third is the message. What is your message? In every presentation, the most important thing for me is the message that you're trying to deliver. Your message, I say this a lot. I say your message is more important than your mess. Your message is more important than your insecurities. Your message is more important than your background. Your message is more important than how you look today. We tend to get carried away by the things that we're afraid of, our mistakes, our inabilities. And when you're making a presentation, it is not the time to outsource your stage to your insecurities. It is not the time to outsource your stage to your fears. It is not the time to outsource your stage to your past mistakes. It is the time to focus on your message. What is your message? You know, when you have a presentation, you are trying to communicate an idea to people. You're trying to sell something to them. You're trying to tell them a story that would touch them, change their hearts. You're trying to sell a product. You're trying to do something. That message is what you should focus on. And if you focus on your fears, you focus on, oh, I'm not ready, or I'm not, no, you're going to miss it. The message is the most important thing. When I was preparing for the contest, I had a lot of problems with technology, lights, internet. I think my internet connection was probably the worst among all the contestants. Um, I had challenges from the very first day. I was the only one that made comments about my internet, and it was embarrassing and made me feel like I was going to lose even before starting. But you know, I was obsessed about my message. I think that if I could share this message with the world, I could tell people that what you look like doesn't matter. It's who you are, it's what you carry inside you that's most important. One of the reasons why you don't fly in life is because you're carrying so much hurt and pain out of ignorance. And if you can just let that go, you can fly. So I was obsessed with this message. This made me forget about all the problems involved. I was sweating, but I didn't care. My internet wasn't so good, but I just focused on my message. You need to focus on your message. Your message is so powerful, so important. It is the most important thing when you're delivering a speech. So you should think about your message. You should think about it over and over again. I remember the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, Will Smith. Now you remember when he had that interview that he wasn't ready for, that he was all not well dressed for, but he still went in all the same. And he was still able to convince them that he was the man for the job. Why is that? Because he had a message. He had passion. He knew he could do it. Now, his looks, his clothes were a drawback, yes, but he used it as an advantage because what was most important was that he knew he could get the job done and he wasn't going to allow anything stop him from getting that message across to those people. So I say this a lot. Maybe you're delivering a speech and you fall down in the middle of the speech. Get up and say, even if we fall, we're going to rise. Use everything to your advantage because your message is the most important part of your speech. So that's the message. All right. And in developing my speeches, every speech I develop, I centered around a core message. There's always a core message. There's always something I'm passionate about that I speak on. And everything, when I frame my speech, when I'm writing, I'm always focusing on that core message. So whenever you're writing, I think you should focus, whenever presentation you have, you should always focus on a core message. Excuse me. Focus on whatever it is that you are passionate about. Whatever moves you is most likely going to move your audience. So some people write things that they think people would like, people would be excited about. That's okay. But if you are not passionate about it, the audience will notice that you're not passionate about it because passion is infectious. When you're passionate about something, people can feel it and they just love that you're passionate about something and then they get drawn into your passion. So it's important to focus, to center your messages around whatever it is you're passionate about. All right, let me try and move forward. The next thing is R is respect and appreciation. A is the right attitude. M is your message. And then P is preparation. Yeah, preparation. All right, so preparation involves, of course, practice, practice and presentation. Now, most people don't realize that until they can actually get out there and present whatever it is that they've practiced, they may not really learn as much as if they just spent all their time rehearsing, rehearsing, rehearsing. Now, you could rehearse 1,000 times, but you need to really go out there and practice in front of an audience. Now, it may be an easy audience. Maybe people, Toastmasters are wonderful. We don't judge people. We just give you as great feedback as possible. And it's unfortunate. Most people don't take advantage of the Toastmasters family to get better at their speeches because this is where you can fail and do better. And then when you go out there, you can now improve. So like this is school. So you get great in school, you can get all the bad grades in school, but it's preparing you for outside there to get better. So take advantage of whatever kind of audiences you can find so that you can make presentations. Little presentations make you get better at bigger presentations. It was, yeah, it's Darren LaCroix that keeps saying this: stage time, stage time, stage time. The more stage time, the better your performance. So if you don't have enough stage time, you're not going to get better at your presentation. In fact, I say stage time takes care of stage fright. The more stage time, the less stage fright. Now, all of us are nervous and anxious whenever we're speaking. Doesn't matter who you are, but it gets better and you become less tense the more stage time you have. So take advantage of as many audiences as possible to prepare and present. Now, of course, preparation begins long before you make a presentation. Your writing helps you get better. Your writing, you could bring whatever it is you wrote to your mentor, to your coach. They can look at it and say, okay, you could do better, you could do better here, and so on. And those things are fantastic. But take the bull by the horn and make those presentations wherever it is you can. Because for every presentation, you actually get better. You can't present in front of people and not get better. You will notice things about yourself, you will notice things about your audience, and you can just continue to make improvements. Now, I've listened to this speech several times, and every time I listen to my speech, my semi-final speech, every time I listen to it, I notice one or two things. I could have done better here. Oh, I could have done this here. Oh, this. Oh, I've seen tons of mistakes. And if I didn't step forward and make that presentation, I would not notice what it is that is wrong with it right now. So, but it doesn't matter how great you are, it doesn't matter how good you are. Everyone, there's always a room for improvement. So you need to be able to prepare. And of course, that means presenting. And I make that emphasis because we have a lot of people that just keep preparing, and they don't present. They're too nervous. They're too nervous about what it is that they're presenting, and they feel that they're not ready. No, just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. And as you do it, you're going to get better. And it doesn't matter what stage you're on, whether you're on the world stage, you're on the district stage, wherever it is, you will always learn more and improve as you prepare. When preparing for my world champ for my district last year, okay, in 2019, I qualified for the district, from my club, all the way to the district. It was the first time I had gone to a district contest, and I noticed something when we were preparing for the finals, for the final speech. I got up about 1 a.m. to go to the stage. Hello? Okay. I got up about 1 a.m. to go to the stage to just rehearse, and I noticed there was nobody else there. I thought there were going to be other competitors, other challengers there trying to use the stage and get, but there was nobody. I was the only one. I was like, oh, I am going to win this. I just told myself I'm going to win this, because why did I say so? If people are not preparing, if they're not that serious about practice and preparation, they're not likely going to do very well. That's the truth. So, I did a little bit, and then I went back to sleep, and I came up again about 4 a.m. Now, when I got up about 4 a.m., I thought I was going to see people again. I didn't see nobody. But then I think after about 30 minutes to an hour, another competitor from Ghana, from West Africa, Ghana, came in, and I was like, oh, I have competition. So the point here is you need to prepare, you need to practice as much as possible, particularly if you're in competitions or for presentations that mean something to you. You need to be able to understand your audience, you need to understand your stage, you need to work whatever it is that you need to work, your props, get it all. Don't hold back. Be the best that you can be. All right, so that's for preparation. So RAMP respect and appreciation, attitude, message, preparation. Now the last is D, ramped. I put a D there. There's no E, just D. So the D there is do it again. The D there is do it again. Yes, I have a mantra. I say this all the time. Do not accept defeat for what you can repeat. Do not accept defeat for what you can repeat. A lot of times we're not going to have the results we're looking for the very first time. So we need to be willing to do it again. You need to get back and do it all over again. So you did this, you had a presentation, it didn't go so well, there were so many problems, no problem. Do it again. Do it all over again. Have it in you to just get back on the horse and charge back into the fire. Do it all over again. I I I I lost for the regionals last year. I won in my district, but before that year, if you qualified for your from your district, you go straight to the finals. Then Toastmasters changed the rules, and there was going to be a regional championship where they would take your winning videos, um, and then judge you among all the other district winners in your region. So I didn't even know about that. I went to the competition thinking if I win this, I'm going to Colorado. So it was very disappointing, and that there were regionals, and you can't really do anything about it. You just take your video and judge it against others, and so there isn't any. You just have to sit and wait. And I sat and waited, and I didn't qualify, and it was disappointing. It really hurt me. I thought I had what it took to go all the way there and do well, but that was just what happened. So what did I do? Next, the following year, in fact, why I'm saying this was that it was so tasking for me. I had spent so much money, so much time. It was emotionally exhausting, physically exhausting. And I didn't think I could do it again, but I found it in me to do it again. I refused to accept defeat for what I could repeat. And I just got back in and competed all the way, and I did even better. I won all the stages from my club to my area, my district, all over again. And in the region, I qualified. And it was it was a dream come true. I was in the same I was in the same group with some other veterans, if you like. There was Marcus, Mark, I've forgotten his surname. Great guys, fantastic speeches. I was in the same group with the winner, my car, with Kitty Brandel, with there were such great speakers. Um, I didn't think I had a chance, but being there was a dream come true. Being on that world stage. If I had given up, I wouldn't have been there in the semifinals. And then waiting for the results and then learning that I qualified. I qualified along with my car. In fact, I joke about this a lot. I said my car and I were in the same group, and it's very possible I beat my car. It's very possible. Yes. So my car is the winner, yes, but maybe I beat him. I don't know. Nobody told us, but it's very possible. There's a slim chance that I probably beat my car in the semifinal group. So I beat the champion, maybe. So, but in any case, the point is, it's really you don't know what's ahead of you if you give up, if you're not willing to do it again. And right now, I'm willing to do it. Although I'm taking a break, I'm not going to compete this year in the new year, but I do intend to come back, and I know I can win it. And even if I don't win a trophy, I'm going to win anyway. So do it again, get back up and do it again, no matter what happens. So I think I'm going to stop there, and maybe I'll take our questions if there are any. Thank you very much. Thank you.
First question for you.
Yes.
So 2019, you won at the district level.
Excuse me.
And then 2020, so 2019 you won at the district level, and in 2020 you went into like the semi-final and the final. What's the final speech which you used? Was it from 2019 or a completely new speech?
Okay. The 2019 my district speech.
Mhm.
Okay, yes. The actually coincidentally, my 29 excuse me, my 2019 winning speech, district speech, was actually the same speech I used in my finals. The final speech, yeah, in the very finals. I adjusted it a little bit and so on. I used that same speech. It was a fun speech. It was about my wife, about my experiences, an experience I had when I was a boy, about a beautiful girl, a poster girl, or something like that. So I'd always loved the speech, and one of the challenges we have anyway is that the thing we can't repeat speeches. If you've done a speech in your semifinal, you cannot repeat the same speech in your finals. In
Yep.
fact, if you've ever been in a semifinal before or final, you can't repeat it. You have to have fresh new speeches. So it was a little bit challenging for me because the speech I really wanted to give in my finals was a speech that contained the story I used in my semifinal. You remember the last story
Yes.
about my uncle, and the fire and all that. There was a different speech, but it also had the same story inside. And it's a very impactful speech. I love this speech. But being that I realized that I couldn't use it, it had to be fresh and new. I had to just fall back to my old speech and work on it as best I could. I don't think I was very ready, but it was still great. It had a great message. I loved it. I enjoyed doing it, and I enjoyed sharing that message with the world. And I got great reviews. I loved what I loved what Darren and Mark Brown and Ed Tate. I was like in speech heaven listening to Ed Tate talk about my speech. I was like, Ed Tate, this speech. Oh my goodness. So it was beautiful. I enjoyed it nonetheless. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
What was some of the technical issues you had, and how did you overcome them?
All right. Thank you. The the basic things, the most difficult was internet, having great internet connection. My internet connection down here is not so great. We do have a few services, fiber optics here and there, that are very good, but they can be very expensive, and being able to get that in use is it's a problem. In fact, initially, the first problems we had was with sound. The audio quality was very poor. I didn't have a good mic and all that. So sound, lights, internet, all those things were quite a challenge, but they are workable. That's the truth. If you take your time and do the work, you can and consult with people that are great in these areas, you can make it work. And the advantage is that you get to share your message with so many more people than you ordinarily would if you were in front of a live audience. So it's even though the challenges are there, but if you can overcome them, you're going to have a very great presentation. You can do such wonderful things. Looking at what my car did in his speech, he took advantage of the whole virtual space, and it was wonderful. and got people's attention, made us realize what we could do with that virtual environment. So it's challenging, but it is worth the work. So it's good to start early, start practicing in front of audiences, and consult with the experts and find out whatever it is that you could do to get better at what you're doing. And you can improve from there. So it's challenging, but it can be overcome. It can be dealt with. Thank you.
How early should we start preparing for an international speech contest? When is the time?
Yesterday.
Toastmaster and honored guest.
Okay, I see a question somewhere. Okay, but let me answer this first. You could start as early as possible. We have people that begin working with their coach as early as October, long before the contest season starts. It really depends on you. I think that what's most important is you being able to start experimenting with certain speeches that are impactful. If you have a speech that you've been able to develop and you love the speech and you think this is a great and powerful speech, you need to start experimenting as early as possible. Getting in front of Toastmasters audiences and even other material and seeing where you can improve on whatever it is that you've written. If you have a coach, having a coach is very, very important. Of course, I have a mentor. He has never even been in. He has never been even a district champion before. No, not even he has never been a division champion before. And but I love the way he thinks. He writes so well. He was the one that suggested my final speech was poster perfect. He was the one that gave that title. He suggested that title, like poster perfect. He said, don't say picture perfect. Picture perfect is cliche. Everybody, but poster perfect. And I love the way he thinks. And so I always work with him. But at the same time, when I was preparing, I wanted some international feedback, someone that had been to the finals, someone that had been at that level. So it's good to work with a coach that has that kind of experience, because the difference between a champion and everybody else can be just this little, just this little. So I got to speak with Philip Campani. Philip Campani is from, I think he's in Ireland or so. Yeah. Anyway, somewhere in Great Britain. Philip Campani was second to Mark Brown in 1995, and he's such a great speaker, communicator, and I hadn't even heard of him before then. One of our former district or rather division directors met him, and they became friends, and he spoke with me. And just a short session, we had just a very short session on Skype, and he listened to my speech and he said, why don't you do this here? Why don't you do this here? And it changed my speech. So having an international coach, having a coach that has great experience, having a mentor that writes well, that thinks well, and then getting as much feedback as possible along your journey is very, very important. So you can start as early as possible. If you want to do well, you need to practice more. You need to get more feedback. You need to work with as many people as you can and get the best out of that experience. All right. I saw a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I've forgotten.
Yeah. Let me ask. Dean, do you have a question?
There's some questions on the
yeah.
chat box.
Anne-Marie also has a question. Anne-Marie, go ahead.
My question is really about picking something that will work with the judges. You see, and I want to know how you decide what is going to be a winning speech and the topics that kind of lend itself to getting judges excited. Share with me.
All right. That is a tricky question. Now, I'm sorry. There's I said that's a tricky question. Sometimes we have, all right, usually you're presenting a speech, just like a comedian. I don't know if you've noticed, comedians always talk about things that are easily relatable. They will always make jokes about things that anyone can relate with. It could be about children, it could be about money, things that are easily relatable. That way, when people can connect with what you're speaking of, then it's easy for them to laugh and get your joke. So usually, whenever you're picking a speech, a title, a topic, a theme, it's important to pick something that is easily relatable. No matter how complex it, something is, if you can't find something relatable, when people can't find something relatable in your speech, they just switch off. So maybe you come on and you're speaking about aeronautical engineering or robotics, and it's complicated and people just can't get because it's rocket science. So when they can't relate, it becomes difficult for them to pay attention, to connect. So it's important that you find something that is relatable. Now, the next thing, of course, is to find something you're passionate about. When you're passionate about something, like I said earlier, it's infectious. People feel passion, and people love passion. When you're passionate about something, people can identify with that passion. And so it's important to find something you're passionate about and speak within that line. Now, what you now need to do is to find the words, the stories, the fables, the quotes, those that rich vocabulary that will now put all those things together and make people listen and enjoy what you're talking about. That's just what happens next. So if you can do that, it works. Now, I have this culture of listening to as many winning speeches as possible just to get a feel of what it's like to be on the world stage and to give something that people would love. So I would study as many world championship speeches as possible. I would listen to all the first place winners, the second place winners. I'd listen to what worked, and I'd listen to critiques of those speeches, and I would listen to their themes. Now, if you listen to all those themes, you would realize that they don't always speak about the same thing, and they may not have the same kind of theme or topic. They may be different, but from everything they're doing, their style, their stories, you can realize, you can learn what you can do or not to do in your own speech to get people's attention, to get your judges' attention, to be able to still deliver something that is valuable. Why I'm saying this is that it's important that we don't get locked into a box. We don't put ourselves in a box and deliver Toastmasters speeches. There are speeches that we can say, oh, these are Toastmaster speeches. This is how Toastmasters do it. But if you can be as creative as you can be, if you listen to other speeches other than just Toastmasters, you can learn a lot and you can bring something fresh and new to the Toastmasters atmosphere. Now, why I say this sometimes is that you need to stay true to who you are and what you believe in and what you're passionate about. Sometimes it may not win you a trophy, but you're going to carry a message that is going to resonate with people, no matter how time passes. The second place winner for this year, Linda Marie. Linda Marie's speech is probably the most memorable speech in the contest. Most people still refer to that speech today. They're still talking about it because of how impactful it was. It was a little bit controversial for some people. It was different. It's also her first time. It was her very first time in the championship, in the finals. But it was an impactful speech. And it's important that we continue to make speeches that mean something and can change lives and actually make people think. So yes, work with whatever is relatable, work with passionate stuff, be as creative as possible, and just learn from every other winner, and you're going to see the patterns and what works That way you can be better at your own delivery. I hope that answers the question.
Amit, I noticed you had a question in the chat. Did you have a chance to ask that yet?
Yeah, I just wanted to know that. Thank you, Dan, for giving me this opportunity to ask a question. First of all, I wanted to ask that in his speech, you had a lot of rhymes. So, do you first of all write the whole speech and then add rhymes to it separately, like make a conscious effort to add them, or do you are not particularly interested in working on that? Like, is it a
Yeah, I love rhymes actually.
yeah?
My first draft didn't have all that. It didn't. In fact, that speech, that semifinal speech, I think I developed it from 3 different speeches that I had delivered before. So I picked from this speech, and I picked from that speech, and I picked from that speech, and I just jumbled it all together. A lot of times in Toastmasters, if you're going to deliver great speeches, you need to be able to pull from a resource of so many speeches that you've written before, so many materials that you've been presenting before. It now becomes easier for you to just pick out the things that work and then use them in your speech. So in my first draft, it wasn't like that. But after working with my mentor and putting things forward, I was always having new ideas of, why don't I do this? Or why don't I do that? Oh, why didn't I do this? He corrected something and then I had a new idea. So it's not automatic. I don't have everything down at the first draft, but sometimes after writing, after even presenting, new ideas come and I just keep adjusting and changing them. So I do like rhymes. I love rhymes, but it doesn't work every time in every speech. There's some speeches that it could take away from the import and the impact and the meaning. So it just depends on what speech it is and what to do. So that's basically my story.
As a follow-up to that, I was just wondering, like, if you pick up rhyme or you pick up an expression or idiom from somebody else's speech, as you said, you are listening to everybody. How do you do the attribution? Because copyright also is an issue, right? How do you attribute that? So that
Well, yes. If you do, if I do speak, if I do pick up something that someone else, that's attributed to somebody else, I always mention it. I would say maybe a wise person said, or so and so said this. I really always try to refer to someone else. If someone did something, I don't poach on people's material. It's very, very important. You would get a very bad reputation as a speaker if you're just attributing people's quotes, people's jokes, and so on to yourself. So it's important that you acknowledge whoever it is that said something, quote, jokes, or whatever it is. But a lot of times too, I have by listening a lot, by listening a lot to people, and you tend to learn what it takes to actually come up with some of these great words, these rhymes, these quotes. So I've come up with quotes all by myself, just by listening to people, listening to how they say it, and I realized that, oh, okay, I could say this differently. Yeah. Like, do not accept defeat for what you can repeat. It's not
that
my
was an
quote.
excellent one.
Yeah, it's not my quote. I just don't know who said it, so I never say I said it. In any case, I say do not accept. But then I say it a different way. Also, I say if you can repeat it, you can defeat it. If you can repeat it, you can defeat it. And then again, I can come up with. I know I can't think of something else right now. But the point is, if you think deeply about an event, about a word, about an encouragement, about a quote, you can always come up with something fresh on your own. So it's possible to do it all on your own. The more thoughtful you are, and that's one of the reasons why it's good for you to have your own file for speeches, for quotes, for jokes, and so on, where you can, if you have an idea, you write it down, and you file it. It could be in your phone, it could be a physical file, it doesn't matter. You just keep these records down. Every good speaker always has somewhere where they're putting down their ideas, quotes, jokes, even, in fact, there's my semifinal speech was developed from a story about a boy that was watching somebody fill balloons with helium and letting them fly, and they were of different colors, and the boy was a black boy. I listened to that. I heard that story somewhere. I can't remember where I heard it from, but the boy was watching those balloons fly, and then he went up to the guy and said, "Excuse me, mister, will black balloons fly?" Because he was a black boy. And the man kind of like knew what he was talking about. So he bent down and looked at him and said, "Son, it doesn't matter what color the balloons are. What matters is what's inside." And, it was a message that, oh, it's not about the color. If you think it's the color, it's not the color. It's actually what's inside the balloon. So you could be a black person, you could be a brown person. It's what you carry inside you that makes a difference between flying and falling down. So I've loved that message. So I've always put it down somewhere. So there are many fables, stories, quotes like that that I have somewhere in my file, and I refer to them whenever I try to make and deliver a speech. So it's important to have some records down where you could remember some of these things and make use of them as time goes on.
Thank you, Benjamin, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Question for you. Why did you decide to take a break this year and not compete this year?
I really need to rest. I am exhausted. But I also want to take the time to develop material without the pressure of competition. Yeah, I remember listening to, oh, I'm trying to remember this past champion. He's in Hawaii. I think he was in the Navy. I'm trying to remember his name. I'll remember his name. He competed in the World Championships and he did not win. And he decided that he's going to take a break and make himself a champion before coming to compete. So he was a champion even before competing. He got he got so good at preparing. Willie Jones, yes, that's it. Willie Jones, thank you very much. Yeah, so Willie Jones said he was going to take a break. He was going to learn the craft. He was going to just get better at it. And he was okay, I think after 2 years or so, but I think it was in the third year that he competed. And he got so good, he could change the direction of his speech in an instant and it would still work. So in his final speech, the one he won, he said the person that competed before him, the person that competed before him was kind of like changed the atmosphere. Everybody was dull, was sad or something. So he wasn't going to deliver a speech the same way he wanted to because he wanted to get people laughing. So he brought up something from the back to the front. I felt he was such a genius. We prepare our speeches and, we just deliver them the way we prepare, but he was ready to just keep adjusting even on the spot. And he was magical on stage, it was wonderful. I loved his speech. So I want to be that kind of a champion. So I want to be able to prepare without the pressure of championships, competition and all that. So I think I need a year off or so. I'll try some materials, visit places, do things, and then come back the following year and compete. Yeah, that's why. Thank you.
Just
I
out of
agree. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Oh, sorry about that. I don't know how it is in your district. In our district, we have 3 other speech contests in any given year. Have you participated in other Toastmaster speech contests aside from the International Speech Contest? And do you find any strengths there?
Yes. As a matter of fact, my first contest was excuse me. My first contest was the Tall Tales contest in 2019. was a tall tales contest, and I did not want to do it because I don't know, I don't like exaggerations. I was like, I don't like exaggerations. I don't want to be lying. But my mentor encouraged me, and I learned so much from the tall tales contest. The only contest I haven't done yet is the humorous contest, and I'm going to try my hands on it either this year or next year. Yeah, so the tall tales contest was my first contest, and I have a fun speech from that. I enjoyed myself, and I learned a lot. It gave me a lot of practice for the international speech contest, and it's something I tell people: compete in every contest. Just get into it. I have this also as a mantra. Um, uh, I'm sorry, please. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. I'm feeling not too well, but the point is just get in. If there's any contest, there's any opportunity, don't hold yourself back. Just get into it, and you will learn a lot. I learned a lot from my tall tales experience. I came first in my club. I came second in my area, and then I came first in my division. So it didn't go all the way to the district that year. This year, it's going all the way to district. Yeah, but in any case, it was just a great experience. I learned a lot from it. So I'd encourage everybody to do this.
Thank you. I was curious
Thank you.
because I tend to gravitate towards the tall tales and humorous speech and not so much towards the international. I think I'm the exact opposite of your preference there, but I was curious what your experiences were.
Yeah, thank you. I hope I answered, because there were some questions on the chat that I wasn't able, in fact, I've forgotten about them. I hope I was able to answer.
Let me check.
Looks like Anne Marie has another question.
That was tongue in cheek. Don't answer it.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Sorry.
Thank you.
So
I think
what
I
did you
saw
do
that.
for a living before the competition? And are you a public speaker now, or
Okay. Well, I've always been a public speaker. I've been speaking in for NGOs, non-governmental organizations. I've been speaking in church. I've been speaking to youth groups. Professionally, not really, more like a hobby. I have done some professional speaking, training, compare work here and there, but more like a hobby. I'm not something consistently. I am a veterinarian, a veterinary surgeon. I'm also a research scientist. So I do some teaching and training in that regard as well. But as far as speaking is concerned, I am working a little bit harder at having a professional speaking career. I'm working on that very hard. I love speaking. I love speaking. It's my number one passion. It's something I'd be willing to do for the rest of my life, and for free, for that matter. So I'm working on that. I'm trying to build a career in that area, building certain things here and there, working harder in that area. So
Oh, Toastmaster and honor.
I did more speaking. Yeah, I did more. I've done more speaking now after my advancements as a Toastmaster, right from last year, winning the Western Central African Championship 2 years in a row, and I'm working on that more, and hope to have an international speaking career in the near future.
Thank you. Jim, looks like you have a question.
Yes. Does drilling in table topics and being an evaluator help at all as in the preparation of doing your international speech?
Thank you very much. I think the whole Toastmasters journey really prepares you to be a very great speaker. I believe that with all my heart. This is one of the reasons why I think the program is a genius. It's a genius program. I think every role you play helps you to be a better speaker because it's like you're on both sides. As an evaluator, you're listening more than you're speaking. You're looking at all the fine points, you're looking at things that could be better. A lot of times people don't get feedback. People just speak and say, oh, you're great, you're fantastic. But having someone to listen to you and say, okay, this is how you could do better. And then having the privilege of being that person too that can listen to other people's speeches makes you a little bit better at self-criticizing yourself, makes you more self-aware and gets you better as a speaker. So as an evaluator, as a timekeeper, as a table topics, yes, table topics. Wow, table topics was the first experience I had in Toastmasters, and I felt, oh, I bombed it. It was horrible. But they said I did well. I was like, okay, but and one of the things I love about Toastmasters is the ability to be able to make a lot of sense in a very short period of time. So, and that's what we're trained for. In table topics, in your prepared speeches. So the whole program, I think it helps you get better as an evaluator, as a grammarian, as R counter. All these things help you. You just keep getting better and better by being on both sides of the equation, as it were. You're looking from a speaker's perspective, from an evaluator's perspective, from a timekeeping perspective. All those perspectives help you become a better speaker. I believe that with all my heart, and I think I have improved greatly as a speaker. I came into Toastmasters already speaking. I wasn't afraid of crowds or speaking. I could speak to 1,000 people. It doesn't move me. But whether I do so well, that's a different matter entirely. So being in Toastmasters taught me and showed me some of the mistakes I was making as a speaker, and I realized I could be better. And the more time I spent with Toastmasters, the better a speaker I became. I mean, people noticed I was a better speaker. It was incredible. I thought I'd learned I knew all that I needed to know, but that was not true. So yes, I think the whole program helps you get better. Thank you.
Benjamin, same thing happened to me. It was February 9th, and I was talking to Darren LaCroix. He came to our district, and I was asking him, should I participate in international speech contest? I don't have a speech ready. And he said to me, go for more stage time. Just go for it. And that moment was the tipping point in my life. From February 9th to now, I've given more than 109 or 110 speeches. And it's like,
awesome. That's beautiful.
So when you were saying that date was going through my mind.
That's great. That's great. It's very, very important, and we need to take advantage of it. And Toastmasters is the perfect place for stage time. Honestly, it's just wonderful. True. And the COVID-19 thing, it just opened things up for us. You can be before any audience, all over the world now. Unlike before, I would never dream of being in front of people in Canada, Bahamas, California, all at the same time. But this challenge, this world challenge, actually has created, Georgia too. Thank you. This challenge allowed us to, connect more, and it's an opportunity for everybody. If you're a speaker, you want to try your material, you could go all over the world and get great feedback from different people. So yes, it's wonderful.
So are you still doing speeches regularly, or we are taking a complete break?
I still do speeches, but in the last few weeks, I have not worked as hard on some of my speeches. I'm trying to go further in my path and finish my path and do all my projects. In fact, I'm trying to take up the free path also and finish that and make as much progress. Deliver speeches, just do the work like a regular Toastmaster and just take advantage of anything that is out there. So I don't intend to take a complete break. No, I think it's important to just keep speaking, over and over again, and that's how we learn. So yes.
So on your break, how often do you speak?
I speak a lot. I speak almost every week now. Apart from what I have not worked on as much as I would want to is my own path and my own projects. I have to put in a little more work in that area. But I get invited to speak in different clubs. I deliver keynote speeches, a lot of keynote speeches, both in Toastmasters and elsewhere. So I am working in that area and speaking. I speak every week, really. Every week I have one speech or the other that I'm delivering, one place or the other. But what I really want to do, I'm trying to make sure I work on my path, my Toastmasters journey, just to get as many pathways as possible. Just keep learning, because that learning atmosphere in Toastmasters, it's invaluable. You being there, listening to people's speeches, getting people to listen to your speeches and give you feedback, those simple projects, they're invaluable. And I want to do more in that area. I know that in the beginning of the year, before the year runs out, I would have been able to finish at least 2 parts and see what I can do more from there. Yeah. Thank you.
Are you going to go for DTM?
Probably. I I know it's a lot of work, but yeah, I think I am. I don't like to think about titles. I just want to do the work and just learn as much as I can. So as I'm doing the work, I know the DTM I'll find it one way or the other along the way. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it eventually.
Obviously, one of the main other requirements for DTM is taking various officer positions. Have you been taking them? And if so, how have they contributed to your speaking ability?
That is one of my biggest challenges. I remember Philip Campani said that recently. He said that he would have to not compete for a year or something like that. So he was not so looking forward to go on the leadership path or be the DTM and all that. And well, it depends on how much time I have. The leadership path has not exactly been. I've never served as a leader before. I started out competing after I'd done my first few projects. I started competing in the Tall Tales contest, and I was ready to jump into the international speech contest. So I have been focused more on the speaking path than on the leadership path. But yeah, with the time I have, with the break I have in competing, it's possible I could work out something. I'm not. I can't say I have a plan for that, but I'm looking. Well, yes, I do want to try everything in Toastmasters. I think it's just a wonderful program, and I should be able to do something. Area director. Oh, no. I don't think I want to go that far. But no, I never say never. That's just true. Never say never. So let's see what happens.
Well, you can always
Yeah,
start
let's
at, let's say, SAA and work up.
Let's see what happens.
Artie
Anything is possible.
Artie had a question.
Okay.
I
Good morning. Good morning, actually, from India. Okay.
Good morning.
Morning. Yeah. So I just wanted to ask how important it is to add humor in our speeches. Is it really advisable to add it every time?
Yeah, humor. I think
Yeah.
humor is invaluable in speeches because we love to laugh. We all love to laugh. But that's one of the advantages of competing in the tall tales and humorous contests. It teaches you how to infuse humor in your speeches. So there are some messages that would not require humor.
Hmm.
Humor would probably take away from the message. But the interesting thing about speeches and people is that there's a way humor can just change the direction of a speech, can make it more likable. You could have a very serious message, and even though it's serious, when you bring humor into it, people are able to accept it better than if it was serious, all serious. So it really depends on what you're trying to achieve. But yes, humor has always been invaluable in every speech. And some do it more than others. Some are great at humor. Some are better, better at making jokes than others. But some are some people like myself. I don't think I'm very humorous. I don't think so. Some people say I am, but I don't know. That's why I've never done the humorous speech contest. I don't know if it's possible for me to get people to laugh every minute. So, but in any case, it's important. It's important. It's very, very important. I think it makes a speech so much better. And if you look at every single world championship speech, every single world championship speech, any winner, you will find some kind of humor in it. And there's some that are not winners. They are probably in the finals and so on, maybe even runner-ups and so on. And their speeches were very serious and all that. And it probably took away from the audience and the judges enjoying it more. But at the same time, I think it really depends on you. What do you want to achieve? So if you want to have a speech where you don't want to put any jokes in the speech because you want people to just face the seriousness of it. If you know how to do it, please go ahead and do it. Don't allow yourself to be boxed into a corner and do things the same way everybody does. But I always say consider humor. It's great in make if you can do it tactfully, you can make even the most serious message more acceptable to any audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Benjamin, I have one question. Can you
Okay.
tell Aarti what she's missing by not joining Toastmasters?
Ah, okay. Wow, you are missing so much.
I,
Toastmasters. Anyway, huh?
I do agree that I'm missing something.
Aha, thank you so much. Thank you for acknowledging that. But self-development is Toastmasters. There's nothing like self-development like how you find it in Toastmasters. I don't think there's anything like it. The immediate past West and Central African champion of public speaking in my district, her name is Ome Bongos Ikwe. She has a speech impediment, a very bad speech impediment. But she's currently our division director, and she was the past Western Central African champion. And she also competed in the World Championships. She in the semifinals. She didn't make it to the finals. If she's delivering a speech, you will not know she has a speech impediment. Now that's what Toastmasters can do. It can turn the most frightened speaker into a world-class speaker. And then what it now does to other parts of your life, your leadership, your career, networking, it's just incredible. I said to myself, where have I been all my life? Where have these guys been? How come I have not been a part of Toastmasters all this while? I think it's a wonderful organization, and you need to jump in, really. Yeah. Thank you.
We spoke for a little bit about inserting humor in the speech. The other frequent advice you hear is inserting stories. Now, I know that you had stories in the small sampling of speeches that we got here. Well, one speech and a description of a story that you used in 2 speeches. But do you find yourself inserting stories in all of your other projects, or?
Well, I do love stories. I find it difficult to give any speech without giving a story. I think it's human beings are so attuned to stories. We love stories, and we remember things better when there's a story attached. So there are some projects where you can't really give a story, maybe the timing, maybe the nature, and so on. Today, I probably would have given a few stories, but yeah, I shared a few stories more or less, but I'm not really into myself, so there are some things I didn't do. But in any case, stories I think are very, very important. And one of the easiest ways to keep people's attention is to just give them a nice story, which is one of the reasons why I love I love Ed Tate. Ed Tate's winning speech, where he talked about just one of those days. It was just a story about his experience at the airport. And it wasn't infused with all kinds of morals or things to learn and all that. It was really just a story about this is what happened when I went to the airport. Okay, sorry, I was trying to read the question. So there's someone else that had a great story I love listening to in that direction. I'm trying to remember. But the point is, when you have a great story, sometimes people can just take what they can from it. You don't even have to preach on them and tell them, oh, you can do this, or this is what you should do, and this is how you should be, and so on. If you just tell a great story, people can just take out from it what works for them. They can just learn from it without you being judgmental, without you giving instructions, without you saying this is what it should be, or this is the moral of the story. They can learn all by themselves. And that's the beauty of a great story. And I think we all should learn to be great storytellers. The better we are at telling stories, the better we are at communicating and connecting. This is one of the reasons why comedians are so powerful and so impactful and connect so well, because they're great storytellers. And I learn from comedians a lot. I listen to a lot of comedians, and I try to, I try to learn, from their style and improve my storytelling techniques. So yes, I think stories are fantastic. Sorry, there was a question that appeared. I didn't
Yes,
get
Robert
that
had a question.
in the chat box. I was trying to read it, but I didn't get it.
Robert, could you say your question?
Absolutely. Once again, it's more tongue in cheek than anything else, but where else can you get advice from people on every single continent of the world working on the same things you are?
Toastmasters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's very true. And I don't know. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to join Toastmasters, really. What are you waiting for? There was a lady that was thinking about joining Toastmasters, and someone told her to speak to me, and she said, after inviting her for a few meetings, she was like, okay, she's into this and this, and she doesn't really know how Toastmasters would help her. And I was like, okay, all right, but I told her there's so and so people that are involved in the same kind of business that you're involved in, and they are even past leaders in Toastmasters. Now, Toastmasters would help you develop in that area, help you network with such people, and get you better as a leader in your field, and also get you better as a speaker. And there really isn't any profession in the world today that doesn't involve one kind of speaking or the other. And what better organization that will help you be a better leader and a better speaker, a better communicator, network with such fantastic people. Look at me today, speaking with such great people from all around the world. Nothing like Toastmasters. Yeah, I agree completely.
Didi asked the
Thank you.
question. You go ahead.
Who? Dee Dee?
Didi. Go ahead, Didi.
She's not there. Did your mom hear your speech and what did she think about it?
My mom? Sorry, did you say my mom? Okay, okay. Yes, she
Yes.
did.
Did you tell your mom that speech?
Yes, she did. She loved it. She's very proud of it, and it's really something that is very close to my heart. I can still remember as a little boy playing with my mommy's tummy, and she can't be body shamed. She just can't be body shamed, and that taught me so much. It made me confident about my body and look at myself and not feel shamed about my physical attributes and say, oh, there's something wrong with me. Because she was an example for me and she was an example for all of us. So she's a big inspiration and it was fun writing. And before I actually developed that speech, it was actually developed, first of all, I wrote a post on Facebook on Mother's Day. And I just spoke about how, okay. So I just spoke about how growing up, listening to her, looking at her and all that. And she loved that post. And it was from that post that we developed the speech. So yes, she loved the speech. She enjoyed it and she's very proud of it. And I'm proud of it too. And I hope to pass it on to all the women in my life, my daughter, my generations after, and anyone that's listening, willing to listen. I think it changed my life. And I think it will change everybody's life to just focus on what's more important. Yes, you should be healthy. Yes, you should be fit. That's fantastic. But don't throw away your self-esteem for the way you look. It's not worth it. Yeah. Thank you. I saw a question about humor, about whether maybe if you're in a club or so where humor doesn't work, perhaps cross cultures or something
Anne
like
Marie,
that.
go ahead.
Yes, I was just saying that sometimes it's just not funny. And you try and you have to realize your limitations. I can be quite dry. And I'm thinking in a club with so many cultures, my English jokes just would not make you laugh or might not. So when you're dealing with a cross-cultural audience, how would you deal with that? You have to be careful.
Yes, actually, but never say never. We do learn how to find certain points of humor in everyday life the more we interact with people. Now, first of all, like you said, some people feel that they are not funny. I'm one of those people. I don't think I am funny, even though people say I am, but I don't know why. Yeah, so but in any case, you could feel inferior in the area of being funny. Maybe it's your look, maybe it's your words, and so on. But the interesting thing is that everybody can be funny. Absolutely everyone. And anyone can learn how to do it. So don't say no, don't say never. You just may need to work a little bit harder. You need to read a little more books. You need to try more materials. You just need to listen to people and just try things because sometimes when you try being funny, it may not work so well, but do it again. Yeah, you need to do it again. You need to try it again. And even when you're dealing with cross cultures, there are some things that come across as funny to everybody. Everybody would laugh at a particular joke being told in a particular way that is relatable to everyone. You just need to find it. There's always something. Toastmasters is a beautiful example. You have people from different nationalities come up to that stage and they deliver speeches. When you listen to Dananjaya say, how many of you have a emotional mom? I can't remember the word he used. Yeah, an emotional mom. And put all those moms together. you've got my mom. And everybody laughed because everybody knows mothers. Everybody has experienced one emotional mom or the other, and they got it. How many of you have a cool dad? Put all those dads together, you got my dad. Now, that's something that will make anyone and everyone laugh. Doesn't matter what culture you come from. It's something you can relate to. So it may just take you working a little bit harder. Don't say no, don't say never. Just keep working at it. And that's been my challenge too. I want to work harder on being funnier. I'm working on that. And I think anyone can be funny. I really do. Just like Ratatouille, yeah? Yeah, anyone can cook. Yeah, anyone can be funny. I believe that. You just need to do the work, yeah, and do it again. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. We're coming up on 9 o'clock. I think we're just continuing as long as people have questions. So did anyone else have any questions?
I'm sorry, I'm actually running out of steam.
Yeah, on behalf of the club, I'd just like to thank you for getting up at ridiculous o'clock in the morning when you weren't feeling well and presenting for us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
I know it
so
was a
much. It's
challenge
a
for you.
great privilege, great honor. I really enjoyed myself, and I'm sorry I didn't bring my A game today, but I'm very happy for what we were able to learn and listening to you guys. And it was a
It was
great time.
quite excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Benjamin, you have touched our hearts. We will never forget that.
Thank
And
you, Abhijit.
I promise you to have you back again in January if you are able to.
Thank you. Thank you. It would be a pleasure and an honor. Thank you.
Perfect.
But in the
Thank
meantime, please get some rest this weekend.
I will. I will. I need it. It's really, I really do. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody. Honestly, it was a great time. I love these experiences. I wanted to cancel, but I was like, no, I have to be here. So I just tried to put myself together, but I know I didn't bring the best, but still it was just worth it. Worth it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It was amazing, Benjamin. It was amazing. I liken it to how COVID-19 caused us to stop for a while and pay attention. Had you had been able to go at 5.0, we might have missed something. But because you sat down and had a conversation with each and every one of us, I think we have a greater appreciation and a greater takeaway from your presentation tonight. So we thank you very much, Benjamin, for keeping the commitment.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Benjamin, you can come in our club and give a speech anytime you want.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Yes.
Likewise.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I just a note, I put in the chat the link for a meeting that I'm having on Sunday at 6 p.m.